Greetings Tesla Monsters, the Oximo here, and today I want to talk about blinking. Blinking is a very useful tool that is used usually in the game to get behind bars on or enemies or stuff like that, but there is much more to it. So let's analyze that. Already alone it's a very cool tool, but when combined with all the other items you get in the game, it can become very powerful. However, keep in mind that in this video I will only talk about the blinking capabilities that we have in an any percent speedrun, so only the base items, no upgrades or whatsoever. So let's start like usual with the basics. When you press blink button, Lumina blinks. She teleports in front of her, and the teleportation occurs in the direction Lumina is looking, and by default horizontally. So here Lumina is looking to the right, I blink to the right. She's looking to the left, I blink to the left. The blink has a cooldown of exactly 1 second, and it's actually the same timing in all rain games, so it's the same thing in Teslagrad 1 and World to the West. So if you were used to spam blink in those games, it's a skill you can share with Teslagrad 2. However, Teslagrad 2 has this little particularity that when you enter any water blink state, so in a water or in a wire, the blink cooldown is instantly refreshed. So you can press the blink button inside a wire, press the blink button again to escape the wire, and directly blink without waiting the 1 second. So it looks like this. See how I could do 2 blinks very fast, and if you do it in the direction of the wire, you can really see that there is no cooldown to the blink, really. It's not that useful, but sometimes it can save you, like, help you gain a little bit of distance. Okay, now let's talk about the blink direction. As I mentioned, by default, the direction of the blink is horizontal, but Teslagrad 2 introduced rotation, and that was already a thing with jumping, how Lumina's rotation altered jumping, and I did a video about that, and I recommend you watching this one also. But the Lumina's rotation also alter blinking. So when you are rotated like this, Lumina will blink according to that rotation. So if I'm like this and I press blink, I will be able to blink at a 45 degrees in front of Lumina instead of strictly horizontally. So here I press blink. As you can see, I blinked at a 45 degree angle. If I look down and I press blink, I blink downwards, which when you come from Teslagrad 1 feels very cursed, but that's how it works. Keep in mind, however, that this rotation thing do not remove your default horizontal blinking option. So here I look downwards, but if I hold the left button, I can blink horizontally. So yeah, it doesn't remove my 2 horizontal blinking options, but it adds 2 new options. Finally, there is one last case that you need to know, is that when you are sliding, you can only blink in the direction you slide. So here, for example, I blinked to the right despite holding the left button. Let me do that again. Here I blinked again to the right. Lumina just then turned back and slide to the left. But if I do it like this, for example, here I could only blink to the left despite holding the right button. And since sliding also rotates Lumina, it's possible to do rotational blinks like this. Or like this. Here towards the up. Here at the top left, etc, etc. So, quick summary. Blinking is affected by rotation. When you slide, you only have 1 blink option, which is forward in the direction you are sliding. When by default you have 2 blink options, horizontal and to the left or to the right, and then 2 more options are added when you are rotated. So let's just show 2 little examples of what is possible to do with that knowledge. So let's go into another save file, and it is this one, and see what we can do just with that knowledge, with that basic knowledge. So here I am at this magnet, and usually I have to wait for, I have to wait for these blue platforms, hold the cape, obviously, sorry. Let me do that again. So I have to hold the cape, go here, and reach that platform, which is a little bit slow. But now that I master jumping and blinking, it's possible to do this. This, like this. Let me do that again. Sorry, I screwed that up a little bit. Like this. So, what is happening here? First, I am rotated 90 degrees to the right. So, when I jump, Lumina jumps to the right. Unfortunately, since I have the blue cape, I have to release the blue cape in order to jump farther. So, like this. But as you can see, when I release the cape, Lumina instantly rotates back to her original position, original rotation. So if I blink, I can only blink horizontally because Lumina is not rotated anymore. So how did I do that upwards blink? Well, it's pretty simple. You have to quickly put the cape back again to be remagnetized by the red magnet, and Lumina will rotate again. So look at that. Sorry, I landed on the platform. So if I jump and reactivate the cape, Lumina will be attracted by the magnetism and will be rotated again. Like this, exactly like this. And so with a good timing, it's possible to use that to do an upwards blink, despite being pretty far to the magnet. So keep in mind that, every time you have a magnet nearby, you can use your cape to rotate Lumina and modify your blink direction. Let's see a different example of tech that is possible to do. That is right here. So, as I mentioned, when you slide and you blink, you will blink in the direction you slide. So here, if I want to do the loop, I just have to blink, and even if Lumina is airborne, she is still sliding. Whoops, sorry, I screwed that up. So yeah, even if she is airborne, she is still sliding. So the blink will follow the slide direction. But what if I want to cut the loop and directly blink to the left? Well, it's possible by doing that. And what I did is releasing the slide button and quickly blink after that. Quickly to keep the slide momentum. Oops, sorry, I did like this. And don't be fooled by the animation here. Here I just released the slide button, but the animation always shows Lumina still sliding because it takes a little bit of time for the animation to catch up. But Lumina's state is not sliding anymore, it is just normal airborne. And so if I blink, it will blink horizontally. Also, Lumina is rotated when you leave the slide. Like here, I left the slide, so Lumina is rotating back to her original rotation. But during all these alternate angles between the slide angle and her original rotation, you can input a blink to do some diagonal blinks like this. See, that was an horizontal blink, but that was a diagonal blink. So with a good timing, it's possible to use that rotation transition to direct your blinks. Okay, so that was blinking used alone. And it's already a little bit technical, but now let's see what you can do with blinking combined to other items. And the first use, well, not other items necessarily, but other skills, And the first use we are going to see is when you slide. As I mentioned in my video about jumping, when you are sliding and you jump during a slide, your jump velocity is added to Lumina's velocity. But when you are not sliding, your Lumina's velocity is set to the jump velocity. So this is why, for example, here, if I slide on this little ramp here, see how high I go? But if I do the same jump without sliding, the jump height is normal. With a blink, it's possible to do a double jump. So it's possible to start a slide, jump, blink on a slope, and jump again. And since you are sliding, the height of the second jump will be added to the first jump. So it is like this, see? If I did 2 jumps, oops, I messed up, like this. And if you listen to Lumina, you can even hear the 2 jumps. She goes, haha. Okay, didn't do it here, unfortunately, I was too fast. Like here, you could hear it, haha. And as you can see, it allows me to reach some crazy heights if I do it correctly. But despite having a little boost in height, I quite cannot reach that ledge. See, a little bit frustrating, isn't it? Fortunately, blinking also goes really nice with ground pounding, like this. So, when you blink during a ground pound, you can cancel it. So that alone can be used to stall a little bit in the air, like like this. So yeah, as you can see, I stalled a little bit in the air. But what is even more interesting is that you can cancel the ground pound during the charge and gain a little bit of height. Because the start of the ground pound makes you rise a little bit. So if you time your blink correctly, which is not that hard, you can just gain a little bit of height. Also, it's not possible to grab a ledge while you are ground pounding, but it's possible to grab a ledge while you are blinking. So if we combine these both techniques, it's possible to do this. So I slide, jump, blink on the slope, jump again while sliding, and when I'm close to that ledge, I ground pound to gain a little bit of height and blink to grab the ledge. Something I didn't mention about that, that little tech, is that the game buffers your jump. So if you watch my inputs at the bottom of the screen, you can see that I only jump once. I jump once here, and I hold the jump button, so when I blink, the game will automatically jump again when this ground is detected. See how I hold the space bar, well, the jump button, and it does the 2 jumps. Oops, I didn't slide. So yeah, that's already pretty cool. I didn't also mention that usually ground pounding kills your horizontal momentum, but if you ground pound and cancel your blink right after, you can, not like this, sorry. So if you, sorry. So if you first ground pound and then blink right after, like this, you can keep your horizontal momentum. So it can allow you to go to reach very far places and sometimes cross some gaps that are not intended. Finally, let's see a last application of what we just saw. Blinking can also be used to help you with hatchet climbing. So, if you don't know, when you have the hatchet, it's possible to climb on walls like this. So you just have to hatchet, 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 and you're good. But here, for example, as you saw, I bonked my head against the platform, and I couldn't do anything. Because once you start falling during hatchet climbing, you just cannot recover. Unless you master blinking. So here, for example, if I try to hatchet again, it's just not possible to do it. It's just not possible to regain height after that. Unless you master the little ground pound blink that we just mentioned. So look at that. Here I am hatchet climbing. Here I bonked my head. And if I ground pound blink hatchet in that order, ground pound blink hatchet, it's possible to stall a little bit and regain height. And then you can try to do whatever you want. And that is used in speedrun to skip the last part of the tower, most notably, to go to the Galvan fight without crossing the tower, basically. So yeah, blink can be very useful. You can blink in a lot of directions. You can cancel your ground pound. Here you can see, for example, if I want to stall a little bit in the air, I can just do that. And I will fall very slowly, which can be useful to avoid the deadly spikes sometimes. And you can cancel that with a blink pretty much when you want. So yeah, blink is a very, very versatile tool. It's really cool, everything you can do with it, but it takes a little bit of practice, especially to master, most notably the hatchet climbing and with the blink variant. But once you do, you can do pretty much whatever you want in the game, because you can reach heights that are just impossible. Always keep in mind, however, that you first need to have your hatchet in hand, and you still have that 1 second cooldown of the blink. So don't be too greedy, and just play and experiment with the blink. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and see you next time for more techniques in Teslagrad 2.